what do you think it means to be human?
Hmm. What does it mean to be human? I think it means it's just about an experience. I think we're here in these flesh avatars, and this isn't us. We are spirit in our truest form. We're energy, we're frequency. And we chose to inhabit these flesh suits on whatever type of realm this is to grow and learn and experience and expand our consciousness. Because I believe at one point, our consciousness was one singular type of entity, one singular consciousness that probably decided it got bored and wanted to experience and grow. Maybe it split off into billions of pieces and out to explore the universe and grow and evolve. And it has. And I think that at some point when piece of this consciousness get far enough out, it wants to find that source again and come back. And it's, we sometimes lose where we come from. And I think that this whole era, this awakening period that we're in right now is about that. We have people that have reached the pinnacle of their journey of experiencing and being fractalized into different entities and different consciousness across the universe, that some of us want to get back to source and experience what that feels like and back to home, if you say. And I think a lot of us are trying to kind of make our journey back to discover where we came from. And this is part of our awakening. And I think we're headed into a really wonderful time for humanity. But the reason we're having so much turmoil is because this is a part of our experience. This is all this stuff I believe happening right now is designed to help us grow and learn, because we can't do that without some kind of friction, without some kind of pushback, and you can't learn lessons if everything's just love and light all the time. You got to have some dark in there. You got to have duality, because that's what the experience is all about. And I think that's what the human experience is. It's just us as spiritual entities, as beings of energy and light, wanting to experience what it is to be to be physical. And this, whatever this is, planet Earth, whatever you want to call it, is the place to do that. And I think that there's probably entities or spiritual beings from across the cosmos that come here to experience. And maybe when we get here, we just forget who we really were before. And after the experience, it's like a roller coaster. You hop off and you're like, oh, you wake up from a dream and you remember who you were. It's all possibilities, but it's all, kind of what I've learned throughout my experiences here. And that's where I'm at now in my journey and my level of discovery, as far as understanding the nature of our spiritual reality here. I think it's all about a wonderful ride to experience and grow.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful, and I resonate with that, especially the roller coaster analogy. Like that is so in alignment with what this experience is like. It's full of the ups and the downs and the scary parts and the good parts, but when you get off the ride, you realize that it was equal in the amount of negatives to it was positive. So it was a balancing and quite liberating experience when you can see it from a balanced perspective, I think. But something you bring up is like duality, and I'm always fascinated with how people manage duality in their own psyche, because I find sometimes that what it feels like to be human is this analogy that came to me, and it's very simple. It's like being a human can feel like being an absolute schizophrenic and the golden ratio at the same time. And so it's like, how do you reconcile the balance of human beings being like the smartest but dumbest species that we at least kind of know of in the universe? Like I feel like we're almost such a contradiction. It can almost rip you apart sometimes, I feel, in your own minds.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. What I've learned is to stop forcing things, to let things occur, to stop like swimming against the current, I should say. If you're out in the ocean and there's a riptide and you're trying to swim against it, you're just going to drown. I think that's the same thing with bad and tough situations here on our planet, or, dark versus light. I don't think you can have to come at it in a sense where you want to defeat it and combat it. I think you have to
Mm-hmm.
maybe experience it and learn from it, instead of fighting against some of these things that cause hardships in our lives. Because while we're experiencing it, we can't see it, but it's part of the growth. It's part of, we have to go through these hard things in order to come out better on the other end. And one of those biggest examples of that is human relationships, the way that men and women traditionally have lives together, treat each other. But it's you have such different experiences in each other's lives that it is hard to come together as humans at times and have lives together and experience relationships, because we've been so fractalized in different directions. um, but I think that really the duality is necessary on all fronts. And the best way that I can kind of deal with that and handle it on a daily basis is to be an observer in most situations as much as I can,
Mhm.
to take myself out of the personalness and the complicated center of situations and be an onlooker on the outside to try and figure it out before I jump back in. Because if you're too deep in a situation and you're in a dark situation or a tough spot, it's hard to see your way out, or it's hard to see what's really happening with that unless you remove yourself somehow from that situation and take a step back and take a look at it. And that's what I've done with many troubles and trying times that I've had in my life. I remove myself from it and kind of observe from a different perspective or a different point of view what was happening, and revisit it after a while of looking at it from a different direction. um, and that's what's worked for me, and I can only really speak for what's worked for
Mhm.
me as far as balancing in my life.